So what I did is I upgraded myself from not only just being able to train, I wanted to basically train and coach together. So what was my coaching sense into it? So when I went to my mentors and I said, I really want to do coaching, give me the sense of basically becoming an outstanding coach. So my, mentors basically said, Arslan, here are a few things. Your life is going to change. And I said, what do you mean by life is going to change? What does change in lifestyle mean when I become a trainer or somebody? I said, well, primary Arslan, this is what's going to happen. Your life is going to become a laboratory. I'm like thinking, laboratory? I mean, it's going to be a lab. Your life is going to be full of lessons, Arslan. Full of lessons? Okay, so that's at least a good part. Fine, it's going to be a lab. It's going to be full of lessons. And Arslan, you'll never be able to suppress yourself. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And what does it mean to basically, suppression? What is suppression? Meaning is, Arslan, you can't basically, hide behind your emotions. If you do feel an emotion, you would want to work on it and basically get through it. And I said, holy moly, this is getting difficult. So first it's going to be a lab, then it's going to become, I won't be able to suppress anything. And then life is going to be full of, lessons. And then they mentioned that, Arslan, if this does happen, you're going to evolve quickly. And I think that resonated more. How many of you would like to evolve quicker? And that's a, sense. Now, here's the thing. I really don't wish to use slangs, but this goes, okay? How many of you have heard the sentence and it goes like, ignorance is a bliss, awareness is a bitch. So basically, ignorance is, a bliss. Now, when you basically know about these modalities, you basically have to walk the walk and walk the talk. Does that make sense for you? So you got to walk the walk and walk the talk. Now, when you're doing that, you got to demonstrate all those qualities in yourself as well. If you have a YouTube, of your own, if you have a LinkedIn of your own, if you have a Facebook on your own, that's no longer yours. That represents you as a brand. So basically, you have to really demonstrate yourself as a leadership capability. And then I went like, oh my God, if I have to, demonstrate myself as a leadership, but what about my friends? What about my personal life? That would it change my personality? Well, Arslan, that's the problem. You cannot suppress yourself. Now, if you wanted to have fun, who's stopping you? But why does the whole world have to see in terms of what you basically do as in terms of fun? Unless you have an entertainment channel and you want to show how fun you are, and that's perfectly fine. So I kind of like every time I evolved, I understood that this is a journey about, making myself better. Think to yourself, how many of you here would want to evolve faster? And evolving faster does not mean that your personality changes. It means you're more responsible. You are more accountable. So yes, for sure, if you're thinking about domains like training, coaching, and therapy, mark my words, this is merely about lot of accountability, lot of responsibility, and lot of holding yourself towards the ecology. And that is true. These professions really require that. When somebody's going to come to you for learning, when somebody's coming to you with a challenge, when somebody's coming to you with a problem, you got to basically present yourself as if you are the authority on that subject. And not only do you have to present yourself, you got to demonstrate that. And that's going to come from your call to action. And you're going to basically demonstrate that with the success ratio of your graduates or your clients or the people when they speak for you. So that's some areas on that. Now, what are some of the problems in terms of the field of coaching? When I say walk the walk, I want to a little bit clarify as to what I mean by walk the walk. Now, for example, there's a health coach, okay? Take this into perspective. Or there's a trainer who's a fitness trainer, but they're basically not in shape. And I'm saying not in shape. I'm not saying they should be zero size, but they're not in shape, or they're basically not taking care of their health. Would they be able to convince you in terms of health? And that's not a promising scenario. So basically, if they're not able to implement that in their own life and they're not able to demonstrate actionable results for themselves, their sense of authority in terms of the market accepting them would also basically decrease significantly. And that is true, right? So do what you believe you can achieve in. So that's how you also, develop, or you basically understand what your sense of specialization is. So as a coach or as a trainer or as an interventionist, what I'm always looking forward to is I'm seeing what are my areas that I have strength in? What are my strength areas? Where do I have the highest leverage? Where my personality personality resonates, what I do, what I practice, what I preach, and how could I basically get that to work for me and for my clients. So that's what we mean. But we're not talking about, so, for example, one can have problems, and that's for sure, but you have to be open to working around that. So I'm not saying that, a fitness, instructor or a health coach or a health trainer will never have problems. Now that's impossible. Does that make sense? Because life is a journey and it's a curve. So sure, they will have problems, but they're open to basically working on them, creating more results, and they're open to basically taking more training for themselves, more coaching for themselves, and more therapy also for themselves. That is what I specifically mean when I say walk the walk or walk the talk. And I also want to highlight what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that now, for example, if there's a male gynecologist, he should have female organs. No, that's not walk the talk, and that's not necessary. It doesn't mean that a neurosurgeon must have had, brain surgery for himself first before he could perform brain surgery on other people. It doesn't mean that, but walk the talk basically means you are understanding your subject area, you're proficient in it, you demonstrate a lot of qualities in it, and you're an authority, and you can build that sense of credibility. Hence, the certification program improves that sense of authority and quality, and it also gives you the toolkit to work more domains into your area that you're specializing in. Does that make sense for everyone? Now, while you're going to be in training and while you're going to be in, basically coaching, or you're going to be in therapy, sessions, this is one thing that I would really want you to do. Don't make it about yourself. Do not make it about if you're basically doing this for getting attention, appreciation, and acknowledgement, let me tell you, this is one of the most, non-appreciative work that you're going to basically embarking on. Do you understand this? Because, for example, when I'm coaching my clients, sometimes I'm coaching them on sensitive topics and they're confidential. So I cannot even share about, how I created that result with someone. So that has to be held into confidentiality. I cannot get the reward of basically appraising, or I would want every client to appraise me. Yes, for sure, if I'm creating results, they're going to call other people and they're going to talk about you and they're going to refer you to other people. So in terms of coaching and therapy, there's a limited sense of appreciation. So do not do that for that core intention. Do not make it about you. Make this about other people. I'm here because I want to serve you. This is about taking your perspectives into account and helping you to get those golden nuggets that you guys require. So what is the right mindset for training, coaching, and therapy is about basically, having and holding a space of, confidentiality. You're holding and maintaining that, sense of space where the client can easily, comfortably share whatever they wish to share and they feel safe. So it's about creating those safe spaces for your clients. Make sure that you are able to provide that safe space. No matter, even if you're a trainer, no matter if you're a coach, no matter if you're a therapist, if you have that mindset and you can hold spaces for other people, for sure, this is a profession that you should embark on. This is more like you becoming the detective, right? So this is about you becoming the how person. How does somebody do this? How does one do this? How does one get depressed? How does one procrastinate? And if you're a how person, you would find, you would be an investigative solution expert in terms of figuring out if you know how it doesn't work, you could basically alternative their, focus to somewhere else. Now that's the perspective number 3 that we're going to talk about, which is having them to have attention and a focus to the things that they may not be aware of. And that's a really cool skill set for a trainer and coach and therapist to develop. And also, one thing that you need to get out of your system, stop suggestions. Stop suggestions. I'm sure all of you have helped somebody in your life. Yeah. Even if you were not a certified coach, even if you're not certified therapist, or you're not certified interventionist or trainer, you guys have helped some people. And most of us have this urge, that let me just give a solution right now. Let me just, let me tell them the answer. Life is not about answers. It's about asking the right quality of questions. So if you have the coaching mechanism or you have the training mechanism, you're getting the solutions out from the person. You're helping them to develop a neurology to do things on their own and they don't become dependent on the process. If you have that mindset, I think that's a great mindset to basically venture out. So these are some of the right mindsets that you should have. And above all, you should be present. Being present, guys, I'm repeating this, being present. Most trainers, think about, oh, aaj to main sales, today I'm going to do a sales training. I'm going to do this energizer. I'm going to do this, icebreaker. Hold it. You're not going to do this energizer. You're not going to do this icebreaker. You're not going to do this activity. You're going to choose and select and see and understand, being present with your audience. What is it that they really require? And you're able to improvise. This is not about, fixating, kind of like, one way approach that works for all people. Human beings are different in personalities. They're different in nature. They have different attitudes. They have different beliefs. They have different values. And you want to basically help them to, create that sense. So if you can maintain presence, and how do you define presence? Have you ever sat with someone and you felt that you connected and you resonated immediately? Yeah. Check me up, put in the comment box if you have ever felt, into somewhere, where you felt safe with someone and you felt that they were really attending to you. They were listening to you. They were holding that space. That's basically called rapport. And you're able to build this level of rapport, being present with your client, being present with your training audience, being present with your, coachee or, the client that you have, and saying, what could, wow, the client is going through so much, and what is it that I need to ask that would help them to liberate, or how do I need to facilitate them that helps them to produce the results of the required empowerment? And if you can maintain that presence in that moment, that's awesome. This is not about tools. This is not about, I need to do VUCA, I need to do KUBA, I need to do that, tool, I need to use this tool. It's not about tools. Having toolkit is great. Do I need to do NLP this tool, or do I need to, that tool? Tools are good. You should know about them, but you should be open to maintaining that sense of presence where you're able to be there with the client and see what really resonates with them. Because you could have an introvert, you could have an extrovert, and they may be demonstrating that personality type in the present moment. So if they're demonstrating that personality type, you match and mirror, develop that rapport and create that presence for them. So that's how it is. And for the longest, let's just basically agree on this. And I do want to voice this out. For sure, coaching, therapy, training is one of the most unregulated, and let me just emphasize that this is one of the most unregulated industries in Pakistan, and that's true. So it does happen, and that's a bad thing as well, but it has a good side to it. What's the good side to it? Now let's talk about the good side. The good side is the entrance into the competition, or the barrier to entry into this industry is really, really low. Doesn't that make sense? That's awesome. You have very less competition and you can really work around there. I think when I was looking after the training fraternity through Trainers Resource Group, at that point, the number of soft skill trainers in Pakistan were hardly limited to about 100 at that given time. Can you imagine? Like literally 100. That's not even a score. And that was, of course, 5 to 6 years ago, or maybe it was a long time back. And now they're basically evolving. There seems to have been a mushroom growth, but that's because there's least barrier to entry. Now, what does that do? Now, what is that going to lead to? That's going to lead to everyone wanting to jump in, becoming a trainer, becoming a coach, becoming a therapist. And what does that do? That attracts good people, but at times it's going to attract the wrong people as well. And that's a given thing. But remember this, as long as you understand that, people who are honest, sincere, and who produce results go a long way, right? So I would always want you to hold on to that sense of integrity and that sense of, ecology that we could basically maintain for our set of clients. So, why else also should you basically enroll into specialized programs into coaching? Well, that's of course it's unregulated, but that does not mean that you don't enroll into these certifications. The basic foundation that these, certification programs that are going to give you is to leverage you in terms of giving you the knowledge. So to understand patterns, behavior, or basically, psychology or the science behind why people do what they do. So if you don't understand, or you feel you have limited knowledge in this, I think it'll be really great if you could acquire certain toolkits. But then there are people who understand that at a very deep level, and sometimes they enroll in this program to increase their toolkit. So toolkit is about what more leverage of interventions can I add that could add to success of my client. Of course, remaining present and being present with the client. So these are some of the things that we would want to do. And let's talk about some qualities now. And I want to basically emphasize on certain set of qualities, and I think these are great qualities. So you can write these qualities down. One quality of a good trainer, coach, and therapist, what I really appreciate and what I would encourage all my graduates also to focus on is to bring, when you're in that zone, when you're the client is there with you and you're there as an interventionist with your client, you're basically helping them to see a different perspective. That's the quality number one. A great quality of a good trainer, coach, and therapist is to help them to analyze a different perspective. Now, when you're helping them to analyze the perspective, you're not giving direct suggestions. We're not talking about direct suggestions here, okay? So we're basically wanting to understand how to basically, work with our clients in terms of how to, what we say, give them a perspective. Let me give you this as an analogy. So for example, I have, this hard drive. When clients come to you, they hold on to a problem, okay? And what are they looking at? What are they really looking at? They're looking at the problem. So, okay, problem. Everywhere they go, they're just looking at the problem. Now, your job as an interventionist or a coach, a therapist or trainer is to have them to shift perspective. That's like, holding their face and saying, hey, yeah, but let's look at this as well. So that's basically, soliciting or easing that sense of the problem and the boundaries of that problem, which is basically saying, and let's just put this into perspective, where is the solution? Ask yourself this question, where is the solution? If I'm holding on to a problem and looking at the problem, where's the solution? The solution is everywhere, like literally everywhere except where the problem is. Does that make sense? So we want the clients to have a different perspective. So as a great, quality that you should really look, if you feel that you have that quality and that's a natural built-in, these certification programs could really enhance that toolkit and knowledge for you. The other idea is that we want to basically be looking at in terms of having really cool sense of new ideas. So this is a great area, as a coach, as an interventionist, as a therapist, you're learning every single day about new ideas, new perspectives, how to do things a little bit differently, how to be creative in terms of doing. So when you're talking with your clients, every human being is so unique. They end up sharing so much and they eventually end up teaching you as to how you could do these things better. And that's a great one. So a quality of basically having a, love for new ideas is an amazing quality that you should build on. And number 3, great accountability. So if you're an accountable person who holds yourself accountable. Now, what do I mean by accountability? It's that you are at the cause of every single thing. It's basically like, let's say, who's driving the bus? Are you in control of your life, or is your life being controlled by somebody else? So that's a perspective of accountability. Accountability is that I make a mistake, and I accept that. I understand that I have made a mistake, and how do I basically grow out from it? How can I learn from it? What could I do differently next time? What do I need to believe in order to feel better about this? What could I do that would basically help me to shape or correct, this course of, action that I've produced? That's basically called being at cause. It's not about being at effect, which would be the other side of it, which is like blaming, shaming, and justifying. For example, oh, I'm a trainer, but I don't get trainings, and it's because of the market. It's because of the economy. No, it's not because of the economy. It's not because of the market. It's because we haven't really put in the work into real actionable areas. So the quality, another great quality, is that you have that sense of accountability. And of course, creating that depth of focus. Like I said, we want our clients to have an amazing reticular activating system, and that's a technical jargon. But I could say, that we want to have them to shift focus to the areas that matter the most, right? So you got to have that, if you have a passion for becoming trainer, coach, and therapy, ask yourself, since how long have you been considering to become a coach, trainer, and therapist? Since how long have you been wanting to? And if you have been, what are the things that you can do? It brings it to immediate focus. So put that, on the wall. I would want to explore this profession. I would want to explore how to becoming a trainer, coach, and therapist. And most of people don't become because they're full-time, practitioners, but they also do it because they want to improve their own personal quality of life, or they want to help their, sense of family to basically be bonding more together. They work on different areas of spirituality, health and fitness, or other walks of life, even in terms of increasing their revenue and performance in terms of business. So that's how we're looking at them. Make sure to basically hit that subscribe, like, and share button. Do visit our YouTube channel, and you can just Google Arslan Larik. That's just pretty much it that you would really require to do. This would basically help us to create more content, and we can remain as a community. I'm doing this for you guys. The closer that we work together, the closer that we could basically bond, and we could basically understand more innovative ways of helping the people who are really in need out there, right? So thank you, and I'll be signing off right now. Thank you for your time, guys. Love you all.